So the reason why most car salesmen quit is because the training is so shitty out there. Managers don't know how to train salespeople. They don't teach them the sales process. And when car salesmen don't learn the sales process, they end up quitting the business. In this video, I'm going to teach you the sales process from A to Z. What I'm going to teach you today is the new way of selling. See, there's an old sales process out there, but I'm going to teach you the new sales process. And a lot of it looks the same, but a lot of it is different. And you're going to notice in this sales process, I'm not going to talk about rapport building until the end. So that's why I urge you to wait until the end, because that is going to be the most important part of the video. Now let's get to it. The first step is the first impression. Customers will judge you in the first 7 seconds of meeting you. Unfortunately, nowadays people have the attention span of a goldfish. So if you're not able to make a good impression on them right away, you're already setting yourself back from making a sale. So don't do anything to hinder the sale. Make sure you look presentable. And when I mean presentable, it doesn't matter what you think you look like. What does the customer think you will look like? Look, you're in this business, and that's why it's called a business. Nobody cares about your feelings. Nobody cares that, oh, you might have some cool style. You don't want to do anything that's going to hinder you from getting a sale. So make sure that when you're dressed appropriately. Don't wear anything crazy. Make sure your hair is done. Make sure you don't smell. Make sure you wear deodorant. I know these are very basic things, but I've seen so many sales guys not do these things, and customers, they judge you right when they meet you, and now it's so much harder to break down their walls, and it's going to be so much harder for you to get that sale. If you want to get off to a good start, make sure that you make a good impression, and a good impression means that you look good, you feel good, and you're presentable. Now the next step is going to be the meet and greet, okay? When you meet and greet your client, I'm telling you right now, energy is transferable. So when you meet your client, make sure you have that positive energy and that you're confident. If you look like you're weak, if you sound like you're weak, and you have low body language, the customer's gonna notice that. They're not gonna wanna buy a car from you. Energy is transferable. If you have positive energy, you will transfer that into your client, and you also transfer confidence into your client. Customers have walked into the dealership. They're scared. They have this stigma about buying a car from a dealership. They have this stigma about buying a car from you. So when you meet this client with confidence, it's going to bring down their walls, and they're going to already be thinking that, hey, I'm going to be taken care of from an individual that is probably going to take care of me because he has confidence in himself. If you have confidence in yourself, you will instill that into your clients. But the basic word track that you can use when you're meeting your clients every single time is, first of all, you want to welcome them. If somebody walks into your home, you welcome them into your home. So whenever somebody walks into your dealership, one thing that I always say is, hey, I don't say what brings you in. I don't say, oh, can I help you? Can you help you look around? What is it that you're looking for? I never ask these stupid questions. First thing that I always do is I always say, welcome to my home. Welcome to Honda. My name is Vashal, and your name is? Always ask them for their name. And then you shake their hand. You always take out your hand and you shake it, because that shows that you're confident. Now, once you've done that, now you want to move into your questions, okay? These are called probing questions. So folks, were you here for parts, sales, or service? I always ask that because that's an either or question. It's going to lead them to an answer. You're not giving them a yes or no question. You're answering the question in a way where you know what the answer is going to be already. So I always say, are you here for parts, sales, or service? If they say they're here for sales, then I move on and say, great folks, what brings you in today? Was it for new or used? Now you're in the game. Now they're going to tell you they're either here for used or new, or they're going to tell you that, hey, you know what? I'm open to both options. When they say that, you're going to say, great folks, I'm going to take care of you today. I'm going to make sure we find you the right car for you and your family, and just come with me. That is it. And again, it's how you say it. It's not what you say. Make sure you're speaking with confidence. You speak with confidence, that customer will follow you into your office, and now you sit them down at your table, and now we're off to the next step. And the next step is the qualifying step, okay? Qualifying step, guys, is where you want to show attention to this. You want to show the client that you care. You don't want to rush this step. A lot of salespeople, what I see, a lot of rookie salespeople, a lot of people that have been in this business for a long time, they rush through this process. They try to do it as quickly as possible and move forward to the next steps. This is the process that you don't want to rush. It shows clients that you care. This is the second biggest purchase that the client is going to be making in their life. Show them that you care. Ask them good questions. Find the right vehicle for them. Select the right vehicle for them. So now, before I move on to the next step, there's some critical mistakes that every salesperson makes. Okay, and what they usually do at this process is they ask these 3 questions, which I tell them that you should never ask a client. This part of the process is where you never want to ask a client what do they want for their trade. You never want to ask a client what their budget is. You never want to ask a client how much money down that they have. These 3 questions is what most amateur salespeople, is what most broke salespeople, they will always ask this question at the beginning. They will always ask these 3 questions because they think they're smart, because they think they're qualifying correctly, and they screw up the whole deal. These 3 questions don't matter, and I'll tell you why. If you build enough value in the product that you are selling, these 3 questions will take care of themselves. And salespeople always say, well, I don't want to waste my time. Well, let me ask you a question. How many times have you ever had a client pay more than what they told you that they were willing to pay? How many times have you ever had a client tell you a monthly budget, then they end up paying more? How many times have you ever had a client who told you that they wanted a specific trade-in value for their vehicle, and then what ends up happening? They end up taking less for their trade. How many times have you had that happen? 90% of the time? 80% of the time? 95% of the time? So at the end of the day, these 3 things don't matter. Because if the client loves the car, if you build value in the car, they will buy this vehicle from you regardless of those things. And we also talk about there's 3 reasons why clients will buy from you. They will buy from you if they like you, trust you, and respect you. Is it easier to overcome these objections before they like you, trust you, and respect you, or after they like you, trust you, and respect you? So I'm telling you right now, during the qualifying process, I don't want you asking any of these questions. If you don't ask these 3 questions and you focus on what I'm telling you to do, you will sell more cars than you've ever sold. You will make more money than you've ever made, and you will have way more happy customers than you have ever had, which is going to lead you to a lot of referrals. So let's get on to the next part now. The next part is a part that I was telling you about, which is going to be the demonstration. So what you've done now is you've done a proper qualifying, you've selected the right vehicle for your client, and now you're going to do a demonstration. On the demonstration, I want you to do a killer demonstration. I want you to get the client inside the vehicle. I want the client touching the car. I want the client to feel the car. I want them to get a little bit of emotion about the vehicle, and I want you to do a killer walk around. Do not rush this part, because remember, we talked about this. If you build enough value in this vehicle, the objections will go out the window. Now let's go on to the next step, which is going to be the presentation. Now you're going to do a presentation of the car, okay? And this is where I want you guys to take a lot of time. Guys, people are spending $30, $40, $50, $60, $70,000 on a vehicle. Make sure you present it well. Make sure you show everything about the vehicle. Make sure you get them inside the car so that they touch it, feel it, and get them liking the vehicle and get them a little bit emotional about the car. Get the whole family in the vehicle. This is where you really want to put on a show. Okay, if you do this step correctly, you'll hold more gross. You'll have a lot easier deals when you're getting to the closing part. If you don't go on the test drive, just stop watching this video. Get yourself out of the business, because you're never going to make any money. Okay, so you have to ensure that you go on every single test drive. Now, when you're on the test drive, this is where you just get the client excited. You let them go on a long test drive as long as they want. Help them use the lane departure feature. Show them how the cruise control works. Show them all the features of the vehicle. Feel of the wheel seals the deal. And now we get on to the next part. Now this is the part where you close. You can see how I never talked about closing. Now when you get back from the test drive, you walk straight into your office, and now we get into the closing part. See, if you have done the beginning part correctly, the closing will be very easy. Because the closing is going to be very easy now, because you didn't ask those stupid questions that most salespeople ask. You didn't ask what their budget is, you didn't ask what they want for their trade, and you didn't ask how much they're willing to pay per month or how much down payment they want to make. This is all a part of the close now. If they like the vehicle and they're emotional about it, now you're going to spend just a little bit of time on the close. What most salespeople do is they spend so much time on the close. They try doing it at the beginning, and it just drags out the sale. But now we're going to close the clients. This is where the closing happens. The closing is going to be easy because you built value and the clients trust you, like you, and respect you. And now what you're going to do is you're going to say, hey folks, I'm just going to get you the pricing and I'll be right back. So now what you're going to do is now you're going to get the numbers from your managers. But before you get the numbers, there's one question which I love asking all of my clients, and it always lets me know where I'm at in the sale and where my client's headspace is at as well. And what I always say, hey folks, so what I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to get you numbers on this vehicle. Now before I do that, hypothetically speaking, see, it's not what you say, it's how you say. And that's it. And the client's either going to say yes or they're going to say no. If the clients say yes, now guess what? Now you know it's all about you closing them on the numbers. If they say, oh, you know what? No, I got to think about it. I'm not sure. What are you going to do? What you're going to do, first thing is don't disagree with them. You agree with them. Hey, you know what? I completely get it. This is the second biggest purchase that you're probably going to make in your life. So what I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to get you the numbers and I'll go over, review them, all of them with you. And at the end, if you have any questions, I'll make sure that I answer them for you. You're going to go and get the numbers. You don't disagree with them there, because until you don't get the numbers in front of them, you don't start overcoming objections. You don't start negotiating until the numbers are in front of them. When the numbers are in front of them, that's when the deal really starts to happen. So guys, this is the sales process. If you follow this sales process like I told you, you will sell more cars, you will make more money than you have ever made. Okay, but remember those key points. You don't want to talk about the trade. You don't want to talk about their budget. You don't want to talk about their down payment until you get the numbers, until you get to the very end, which is the closing part. Okay, now there's one thing that I didn't mention, which is the rapport part, because there's no specific section where you're going to build a rapport with your clients. You are going to build rapport throughout the whole sale. So don't just focus building rapport at the very beginning or at the end. Rapport is meant to be built throughout the whole sale. So guys, if you follow these steps like I've told you and you follow this blueprint, you will make more money than you have ever made in this automotive industry, and your life could completely change. Until next time guys, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you later.